Hello and welcome, Rangers, to the Zordon Files. Today, we're looking at the lore involving the Quasar swords and the power coins. Now, 10,000 years before the modern age, Rita Repulsa attempted to, conquer this part of the universe for Lord Zed, because it's the thing to do. But the problem for Rita was that she was overpowered and sealed away by 6 Rangers wielding power coins. The trouble for the Rangers, though, was that the Green Ranger was killed and his or her power coin was stolen by Rita, who then corrupted it for evil. In the meantime, Zordon had to kind of operate with just 5 coins. Now, when in the movie of Power Rangers 1995, Ivan Ooze is mentioned to have been defeated and sealed away in an egg by 5 Rangers. So, or at least a team of Rangers. So, the theory here is how could they do that with just the power coin abilities that we see in the show, and powers that really had a hard time with sealing away Rita Repulsa. So my theory is that, now from what I've seen, these Ranger abilities seem to be more scientific based. Science Rangers are one major category, and we can kind of look at Lightspeed Rescue in space and the first generation of the Power Coin era of, Power Rangers of the Mighty Morphin era as all Space Rangers. Now, after the Great Power is discovered, those morphers became spiritual in nature. So you have now Ninjetti morphers. You've got Zia. Those are clearly spiritual-based abilities. The Spirit Rangers seem to have more power. Now, with that out of the way, the question remains, how could the Scientific Rangers overpower Ivan Ooze? Well, this brought on the theory and the question of, how did the Quasar swords get where they were and end up sealed in those rocks? Now, those are a prime example of spiritual-based morphers and Power Ranger weapons. So, Zordon had Rangers who had these weak, piddly rear-end morphing coins, power coins, but these Quasar swords are just lying around. I think that they're both halves of a whole, almost. That the original team, pretty much from 6,000 years ago, that defeated Ivan Ooze, had these swords and the power coin. And they combined their powers together in order to be all the stronger for it and to defeat Ivan Ooze. That this team from 6,000 years ago were specially trained by Zordon, much as the movie ones were, trained by him over the course of several years to fight Ivan and Zed. So with these two great powers in hand, now the question remains, what happened? Now, we know that they tore apart Ivan's machines, his Defamorphicans, but that they couldn't destroy them. And those swords ended up in space. Now, it's implied the Guardian was the one who put the swords in the rock. Where did the Guardian get, where did he get the swords? So my theory is he was one of those Rangers. He had the blue power coin and the blue Quasar sword. Now, naturally, this means that the black power coin was paired with the green sword. Now, green and black seem to come from a similar place in the morphing grid, with people often using them interchangeably almost. But the black color seems to be pure male, while the pink color seems to be pure female. And we have seen green Rangers who were female. So green, pink, and black seem to come from the same corner. So a black Ranger wielding the green Quasar sword isn't too out there. These 5 Rangers ended up defeating him, and I think the Guardian was part of that team. He was the only survivor, though. The rest of the team sealed Ivan in the egg and proceeded to expire immediately afterwards. Mm-hmm. And that this is what frightened Zordon so much about Ivan being potentially released, is that he's already buried one team. Now, the Guardian went on to be all but immortal until he blessed Kai and essentially breathed his metaphysical blue energy into Kai, and Kai is now the new Guardian. So, as Kai seems to be the spiritually strongest of his team. Now, Leo is the strongest ranger, but the strongest spiritually is Kai. But maybe the Guardian was the one who put the Quasar swords there to keep them as far away from Ooze and even Rita as possible. And the act of sealing them away that way would also prevent Rita from corrupting them like she did the green morphing coin.
And I suppose that can probably be one reason why.
These Quasar swords, which have way more power than the power coins, and you have, of course, the power coins that were present during the battle with Ivan. So I think that they're kind of connected to each other.
Yes, that would bring forth massive amounts of power, because if Power Rangers as skilled as Tommy and the gang in the movies could just to say transform and just to say beat those
Dephomorphicans,
how is a previous team supposed to stand up to Lord Zed, let alone Ivan Ooze?
So yeah, Ivan seems to have been powerful enough to probably kill a team himself, but they used their Zords to tear apart his Dephomorphicans, then shove them into that egg. But how did they create the egg? Now, it's implied Zordon created it, but at the same time, how did he channel power into it? I doubt the power coins had enough energy to do that. That said, I don't think the Quasar swords could do it on their own. So it's probably a combination of science and magic, which seems to be consistent with how Zordon operates. With that said, tell us what you think of this theory. Are we on track or are we out there? This theory was one that was pretty fun for us to discuss, so do share the video. We'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. And also subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And, well, we could really use your help. And until next time, may the power protect you all, Rangers.